That's
That's one of my
good.
pet peeves is when people get promoted to leadership just because they're good at what they did.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean they can translate that knowledge to somebody else or that they can help recreate and develop other people to be great at what they do. And I think that is an organizational disaster when companies do that. And I see it over and over and over again. Sales is one of the most obvious
Oh
ones.
gosh,
People
yes.
get promoted to sales manager just because they were a great salesperson. Typically, those salespeople hated that they got promoted to management because they're not making as much money
Yeah.
as they were as an individual contributor. But now they have to rely on other people where they just want to be out there and doing it. They don't
Yeah.
want to have to explain to anybody or talk to anybody. They just want to do it. So it's a pet peeve of mine when companies do that.
Well, how about we make this sort of why don't we talk about this next topic and then wrap? Because
Sure.
you've opened this door and you may or may not have the answer. I don't know. But
I doubt I do.
That's such a great example, and it happens all the time, right? You have these high um achievers and with their individual roles. And it's not just sales, but a lot of times it's sales, right? Where they do really well and then they think that they're deserving of this role. You want to reward them for how well they've done, but they may not be a great leader, and you may even know it. What do you do with your high achievers and individual contributor roles when leadership isn't the best fit for them?
Yeah, that's a great question. And my team now, we focus on leadership development a lot. My team currently, we train call center folks, which we have a high volume and we're consistently having to train new leaders, et cetera. And we've been having this conversation of what makes a good leader on this program, but it's sort of universal. And looking at just metrics like their customer satisfaction scores or their average call handling time or whatever other numbers or metrics you want to look at. Like when I was, a sales manager, when I've done various things, it's not just about the metrics. You have to look at the soft skills side. But the problem is that's hard to measure.
Right.
It is really hard to measure soft skills. And so utilizing resources and tools like 360 assessments can help identify whether that person is a good skill set. But I also think companies have to recognize and determine and develop what is the profile of the ideal person for that role. What does it look like outside of just metrics? What are the skills? Like, is this a job that constantly changes? So we need to have somebody who knows how to lead through change and ambiguity. Yeah. Do we need somebody who is an excellent communicator because this is one of the teams that just drops off and people forget to tell them what's going on and then they sort of, explode. Figuring out what are the specific soft skills, not generic stuff like, oh, this person is, a great attention to detail or whatever, but like what really makes that and then translate to hiring. That is really, there's so many companies out there trying to make money off of that. None of them have it exactly right. Some of them have different pieces and parts of it. I've worked with different companies. I've taken different trainings. I don't know that I have the exact solution either, but the more we refine it, the better it is. And looking
let
at
me put
just
you on the spot.
metrics. Yeah.
So we know that we shouldn't hire these high achievers for these leadership roles if they're not a good fit. What do you do with them? What do you do with these people? They're doing great. They've been killing it. They're making their numbers. They're ready for the next challenge. Like, how do you satisfy these guys?
So I think it's having a really honest, candid conversation. Why do they want leadership? What do they think a leadership role would do for them? Do they think it's, power? Do they think it's more autonomy? Do they think it's more money or prestige? Or do they just think it's naturally the next step? Kind of like some people think, oh, okay, we've been dating. Okay, the next step is to get engaged. Okay, next step is to get married. Okay, next step is to have a baby. Just because that's all the way that's been done, that like, do they have a preconceived notion that, oh, I've been doing this great, I should be rewarded by getting this next step? Having a candid conversation of why do you want this? Why do you think you'd be good at it? Why do you think it would be a good fit for you? And then if you honestly don't think that they're a good fit for it, find something else that's going to trigger their energy without moving them into something that they're not going to be successful. You don't want to set people up to fail. So maybe they can help with some sort of high potential program. Maybe they're not the right person to move into leadership, but maybe they can help identify what new and future leaders could look like that made them successful in their career. Or maybe they can help with a training program and mentor new people in that role. Or, maybe it's even sort of just like cross-functional things. Maybe they can help work with marketing and say, this is how we can start marketing our product or service in a different way. So I think finding them a way to trigger their energy to help give them some recognition and keep them engaged, but having that candid conversation, moving them into leadership, knowing that they're not going to be successful in leadership is not the right fit. Now, if they have potential anywhere in there, I'm a huge fan of maximizing somebody's potential. If there's potential, if there really is a possibility they could be great at it, then keep them on the back burner as bench strength. Work with them on those skills that they might need.
Help them develop those skills.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then if at some point they are ready, maybe they need a little more guidance, maybe they need a little more time, but work with them and then maybe get them into that role if it's truly a potential and they are doing it for the right reasons. If they're not, then find some other way to keep them engaged and do something, because moving them into a leadership role is going to not just affect them and their sort of success, but the rest of the organization too.
You're losing a good salesperson and you're hiring a bad leader.
Exactly.
It's like a lose-lose.
Absolutely. And way too many companies do it.
Yeah.